it is live. We'll get to see what will transpire here. Tidehunter Hoodwink for SG versus the Ravens Mirana Kunkka. Well, it's pretty slightly different opener than we tend to see normally.
Yeah, I guess, like, once you see this Mirana, you do want a hero that is able to, there's a lot of combination with Mirana that can make your game awful. Sinking, Kunkka, they're pretty common ones. So Tidehunter is a hero that counters that in a lot of senses. So I like this Tidehunter response when they see the Mirana. The Hoodwink is, it's a good partner, honestly, with Tidehunter, because you do have minus armor. You can start with Blightstone and Hoodwink. You actually do a lot of physical damage if you put these two guys together. But as far as we know, Tidehunter could even be a 5. He's such a versatile hero. So I'm fine with the way they started here, even though it is weird. Is also very reactive towards this Mirana first pick. That is also not common at all.
Yeah, it's not the most common hero, but, there are definitely some specialists out there. We talked about Noping, and for instance, and they actually, one of the weirdest changes I saw in that roster, of course, is that they swapped RDO from a safe lane position to the 4 position, which, first of all, first thought in my mind is, why would you do that? And then I watched them play their first series, and they played with 4 cores. Because he just farmed pretty much the same amount as anyone else in the game as his Lina. And every team bans Coddle out immediately against him. A completely interesting dynamic in that regard, and looking really forward to what Noping can bring. But in this case, SG Esports start off nicely. Good minus armor, because Hoodwink normally tends to go for like a Blightstone in the early parts, so that means Roshan capabilities are pretty solid. Team fight, I mean, they've got stuns to work with both sides. Kunkka is one of the best heroes, though, especially to pick early, considering you can just flex it so heavily.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I think that the flexing part is really important to how this hero became so contested. Because when I saw the changes, they actually swapped one of the... Not really swapped, they removed the damage talent that Kunkka... Or strength talent, I think, that Kunkka had at level 15 to, like, move speed on X. And I thought at, like, first glance that this was a huge hit to Kunkka. But he became even more popular. So, yeah, this hero looks really strong. As you said, it can flex quite a bit. And they get this Void Spirit. Probably going to be KXY hero, but... can play offlane sometimes. It does have a little bit of a flex.
5 seconds.
Yeah, it's immediately countered. Well, not necessarily countered, but the Void Spirit gets picked up on the side of SG. In case it would be a mid Kunkka, he can, of course, easily dodge any X-Mark combo that you want to throw out with this Dissimulate. So that is a heads-up move. Also can dodge the Mirana arrows for the most part in that regard if they pick up, like, well, to a decent degree. If they pick up OD, you're still going to get smacked. But yeah,
definitely one of the harder heroes to hit with those combos.
Okay, Timbersaw against the break. Decent amount of magic damage. Not really showing any of the enemy safe lane, because they can pick up a 5 and a safe laner last. Very likely forcing this Tidehunter to go as a off lane instead of the 5, though.
Yeah, I would say so. And there's also a lot of incentives here for Ravens to actually bring this Timber into the Tidehunter lane. I'm not sure if they're really thinking of any tri-lane scenarios, but even if they don't tri-lane, laning Timber versus Tide is so good. Like, Tide usually doesn't mind being solo, but this is such an annoying lane, having your strength drained. You just melt all the time to the Timber. So I like it, even though there is the break mechanic you mentioned on Hoodwink. Especially if they're forced into a tri-lane or a scenario where Hoodwink doesn't get a lot of experience, it will take some time until they have that way of dealing with the Timber. And if he has a solo lane, he's going to be so massive that the break might not even be enough.
Well, are you expecting now this to be a Kunkka mid or a Kunkka safe lane because of these picks so far?
I really feel like Timber, like Kunkka is fine versus Tidehunter in lane, but I think Timber is so good that you probably play the Kunkka mid, and you get a really good matchup to scale into the game. I mean, obviously, I didn't see a lot of Ravens games. Not sure how exactly they like to approach draft, but that feels a little bit more straightforward, in my opinion. And then I get the TD. All right.
Kunkka, if it's a core, can actually like be very annoying. Even as a mid Kunkka, TB can get destroyed by like Ags build, or you just go for the full-on crit damage and wipe the TB out of the server. But it is actually surprisingly enough, because I expected with all the patch changes and all the heroes like Tiny becoming stupidly OP and such, a Terrorblade would have been one of the heroes that would have just faded to the background. But I keep on constantly seeing the TB picks coming through.
Yeah, I think what changed is that even though Tiny is really strong, the aspect of Tiny that is strong is actually his physical damage now, way more than his combo used to be. Like you can even see like in team fights now, instead of going for the normal combo where you have a toss, they're using like Avalanche, then toss to maximize stun duration rather than burst damage, and that usually allows TB to a BKB Sunder, so he doesn't fear that aspect of Tiny. And at the same time, Terrorblade is just one of those heroes that just like it's such a it scales really well, as long as the game isn't super snowbally, which when you look at the heroes inside of Ravens, they have very poor siege. Even though Timber usually takes the tier 1 tower in the off lane quickly, he doesn't do that fast. So it gives Terrorblade enough time to become a menace for sure.
10 seconds.
What hero do you think that Ravens need to last pick here to deal with the TB?
I think there's a couple of options. I like the standard gyrocopter, I think the hero has some mixed damage that really allows him to scale against the TB for most of the game. They could go for the safe, I'm just gonna go Luna, even though it's not a good matchup, it just farms well and it does what it's supposed to do. They did ban PA, which is definitely one of the heroes that, even though it's a lot of physical damage, it can just kill the Hoodwink really quickly. It has the break for the Tidehunter, so that's a good ban.
Oh, PA is banned, so.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the ban itself.
I mean, yeah, but PA is always, it's always that big threat lurking about. Razor would destroy the Tidehunter in lane. Not necessarily the first hero, especially considering I've seen like a lot of games where Razor eventually does nothing.
Radiant pick.
Because of the changes that they added
to
the refresher orb and stuff.
Because the hero definitely doesn't feel as strong as it used to be. And they'll go Ember, huh? So they want to... They can send either the Kunkka or the Ember against Void Spirit.
I would assume Ember.
Feel like Kunkka is better.
Really? I would assume that it's going to be the Ember, because Ember doesn't feel like it does too much against the Tide. Whereas Kunkka can handle a Tide. I just... You got nothing with that Xmark can really do. I do love that Bane pick, though. It's a very good Bane game.
Yeah, they do go for the Kunkka carry, and this is going to be a mid-Ember. It does have a more active role than Kunkka does. Usually as Kunkka, you want to be farming stacks and stuff like that. But I think both could be fine. So I don't really mind either one of those decisions. All right. I like the Bane as well. I think they have a decent amount of cancel for the Fiend's Grip, though. I'm not sure how impactful Widge is gonna... Like, if he doesn't get a really good early game, it feels like one of those games where Bane can be 0-12, You try to Fiend's Grip, you can get Glimpse, you can get Axe, you can get Arrowed, Ember can find you. But if they are playing from ahead, if they do have this Hiko Tidehunter working as like a wall for him, there's definitely a lot of work that Bane can do.
I mean, I agree with you that, of course, they have some cancel, but the arrow takes a while to get into place. The glimpse as well takes a couple of seconds before it completely goes off. The Kunkka with the torrent, or Xmark. And Timbersaw and Ember don't really have a way to interrupt the Fiend's Grip, so that's why I really, personally, like the Bane pick. And just in general, the save is always very nice against the Kunkka, where you Xmark... In comes the ghost ship, and then you hit him with the nightmare save. And then, oh,
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely like a more. We're probably gonna see that way more than we're gonna see the Fiend's Grip being impactful. And also, it's a really strong laner. Terrorblade, definitely a better laner than used to be with all of those buffs to reflection. But having Bane on top of that really allows them to, at least in the first levels, to fight against that Timber. We'll see what exactly they'll do with the laning here on the side of Raven. If they're gonna go vanilla and just send Timber to the off lane, or if we're gonna see any dance towards an advantageous lane versus the Tide.
Mirana starting with brown boots. God, Mirana's base movement speed is insane. Oh wait, that's with the smoke. Never mind, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's terrible. It is actually terrible.
But she's got leap, so it's weird. I was already thinking, but yeah, of course, there's the smoke. Duh. Gives you massive movement speed increase. Look at that Bane walking about, but doesn't really have the information where the ward could be, because as you can see, there's a ward up on the high ground. Got some players in the vicinity as well.
Mm-hmm. I definitely like this SG ward because you do have a Mirana that's going to be roaming towards the mid lane more than likely. And they even go for this ward that is, it definitely has a little bit less vision, but it doesn't get scouted. Or I guess you could say you can plant it before the enemy plants that dire ward, and so it's gonna stay up and will scout most of the movements that Dismar goes for, unless he's smoked.
I do love it when, yeah, as you can see, both small camps on the side, warded and counter warded. That is a team that has scrimmed against each other quite a decent amount of times.
The script is followed perfectly. Alright, so yeah, we will see this Mirana in Timbersaw lane. I think this is a lane where Widge really has to be like paying attention to block that large camp. That's usually how a Mirana that just gets out of the base with boots can feel useful. Just using the arrow on those large creeps. Oh, the courier. No.
Got him.
Courier has been killed.
All right.
Anything good on it?
All right. Block the cap. Okay, he does block it with the sentry. Nicely done. And Dismar will block it with his body.
First couple of levels is annoying for Benya's. Arrow actually misses the range creep, surprisingly enough.
I worked as a courier.
But another courier snipe. Both the Radiant couriers in the bottom lane have been sniped by this nasty Mirana. And he doesn't even have like a ward in the area to scout it out. Just standing there waiting for it to spawn.
Yeah, I guess it's one of the advantages of having boots, right? Because you can, you don't really need to start with leap level 1, and at the same time, you still like are useful killing couriers. Cause it's not like they have any setup or any threat of this era so far. Oh, Dismar. Is he dead? What?
Okay, I missed that. I was literally just taking a tiny sip of water, and okay, how did he die?
He just got conjure a reflection and walked out by the Terrorblade.
Okay.
No, those are the buffs. That spell looks pretty good now. And this is great, because like this is a lane where Parker really needs to leave once the Timbersaw is level 6. So if he can get this first blood, if he can maximize his golden XP before he leaves the lane, it's just gonna accelerate his game much more fast. Really nicely done by SG.
Parker's farm pretty nice. Those power charges are going to be done in no time. Arrow hits the range creep again. I mean, Dismar's just trying to get himself the mana boots ASAP, but I think Parker, I mean, so far looking so good. Also's got the magic wand, has a fairy fire. Benja's trying to get aggressive, of course. Now that he's level 3, it gets a little bit more dicey. Dismar is dying again to Widge. Okay, let's go. Bane gets a kill as well secured, and that Mirana is not having fun without those leaps. It's great that you have got those boots of speed, but they haven't saved him a single time.
It's tough because you definitely want to play away from the lane just because Timbersaw is a hero that benefits a lot from experience. But I think he overdid it a little bit, and now it's snowballing against Dismar himself, because without leap, he really starts to get threatened by all of those heroes.
It's rough bottom lane. Should get better for Benjas at least, but Dismar I mean, he's gonna need to find some plays to make. Of course, you could go for a mid gank, considering Searing Chains has been leveled up by... Okay, how do you pronounce that Ember's name?
Nengo Flow.
Oh, actually, it's just as it looks. Okay, that's surprising. Nengo Flow.
Yeah, like...
I see a weird thing over the
If you want to
end.
be extremely anal about it, it is more like Nengo, but you can say Nengo Flow. Like, I, as a South American, will give you permission to speak it this way, because I hate it when people go like super specific about
I
pronunciation.
mean, to be fair, there's one name that rings to mind who played on Infamous last season. Michael.
I know.
Or what his Michel.
Or Michael, if you're
Yeah,
from Brazil.
I had to, like, their coach. I talked to their coach, and he actually sent me like voice lines on WhatsApp
Twitter.
on
WhatsApp.
how to pronounce his name, and I've actually been like standing in front of the mirror trying to copy it.
Oh, KXY.
This time, yeah. Root into arrow equals kill.
Very nice.
Because you can't dissimulate in a root, right?
No, you can't. You can't.
That shows you how
That'll
much
be
I've
very
played
powerful.
Void.
I love White Spirit. He's one of my favorite heroes. But yeah, I mean that's the strength of this Ember Murana. Like, they actually went with Ember, Murana, and Kanka. So regardless of the lane this Murana goes, I guess besides the Timbersaw lane, there's a lot of kill potential, which is super powerful. Probably a game where KXY has to go use after. Oh yeah, and he does have it queued up, so that will allow him to not die to those combinations anymore.
It's so fun to see Kunka with an helm with the Iron Will, just takes no damage. Walks away. Yeah, sure, hit me. Same with the Timbersaw, of course, on the other side. Parker is starting to get a little bit more of a struggle going. In the lane, of course, considering the Timbersaw feels indestructible with level 3 reactive armor.
Pretty big mistake here from Wage, I think. He usually, in a situation like this, you really want to be able to pull the 5-minute camp, so that, especially because he has a stack, so that you can destroy the catapult. Like, the reason Parker is still in this lane, even though he takes so much harass from Benjas, is the catapult is alive. And if they actually made this pull, the catapult would be dead and he would be free to start jungling.
Oh my god. Nengo! Nengo! Oh! So close! So close! KXY went very deep. He tried to go for the play. Was hoping that LTH was like gonna do something, but unfortunately that was not the case, and he just barely survives thanks to that flame guard.
Why did he go so deep though?
He staggered it as well. He didn't go like hit. He went a step, another step. He didn't just burst him down. It took forever to try and go for the kill. In the meantime, bottom lane, Ben just getting sundered, trying to run away. Will be chased. KXY is there, does have an astral step, and that should be the kill secured. Parker picks it up, especially. Very well done.
The G-bait level 6 Sunder. You don't see that every day. Nicely done by Parker. I mean, this is huge. Because like, I was talking about, you know, I was with the mentality of, oh, I'm such a sad Terrorblade, I have to leave the lane. But he was playing ahead. He was like, I can kill this guy because he's going to play like a freaking crazy Timber. And he was right. Nice rotation from KXY as well. Does recover a little bit from the 2 deaths that he has. This is looking good for SG, I think. I definitely feel like if this goes late enough, like the Terrorblade just scales much more than the Kunkka can ever dream of scaling.
Yeah, especially if you get to the point where you get like a peak AP, you're running around with 40 armor at that point in the game. So physical damage you don't care about, and magic damage is, well, they've got a decent amount of it, but they can't hit you with it, which is going to be the big problem going forward. In the bottom lane, we just slowly melting away to this Timbersaw. You know, it's 7 minutes in. You can't stand in that lane anymore.
Yeah, he's trying to buy as much time as he can. Oh, they're even gonna send. Okay. Unexpected.
Yeah, and that's just a waste of the Void Spirit mana and time. an effort.
Tower needs a hand.
Because that tower's going down. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. So they can try and go for the TB of Parker. Arrow misses. Doesn't have a Sunder for a couple of seconds. Oh, the Fairy Fire keeps him alive, and he actually walks away. Fairy Fire plays coming through. And the TB.
No, he has to be careful. There's a ward there, actually. So
He's walking to dodge Sunder. Oh,
what?
come on. So close. Oh, he wants to get the whip in. This is so scary. And he actually gets the kill. The Ravage comes in a second too late. What just happened? Dad turns around. X mark. Torrent. Go ship. Make that 2 kills secured. Indeed. Or does he? Yes, indeed. And they'll surround Eco as well. What a turnaround. The Ravens are coming alive. And that was actually one of the worst moves I've seen Parker make in a very long time.
I cannot believe the size of Parker's balls. Like, how he, like, I mean, I admire how confident he was with this move, but he just walked up a high ground and tried to sunder a Kunkka when he was 100 HP, man. Wow. I mean, we were praising the play bottom, but I really feel like this is gonna slow down his game quite a bit. Because now this Kunkka finished the armlet, he can go for the Shadow Blade, the BKB, the World his Hoister. That's, yeah, this is not great. He didn't have to go for that play, you know? It was definitely...
I mean, it would have actually been the play, like one of the best plays ever, if Ravage was used literally a second earlier. If he pops Ravage, Kunkka can't get the whip off, you sunder him, you kill him, you take over the enemy jungle, and we have a completely different game story on our hands. But yeah, Dad just whips him. Just sees a 200 HP like, Parker walking up.
He had both, dude. I think even if they get the Sunder with the Ravage, like Ravage into Sunder, I feel like maybe he still survives on that. But
I mean, with
anyway,
meta, it does burst heavy.
It's in the past. It's in the past.
Gang squad coming through and invading the enemy. Look at that ancient stack as well. Oh, they want to try and scoop that up. The SC don't have the best ancient steel squad though.
Yeah, and they also don't find Parker. He does nifty smoking coming from Ravens. So it looks like both teams going for a relatively similar play, but it's not going to connect on either side.
Radiant's bottom tower needs a hand.
Just continuing the farm. Wage still trying to get his level 6. That's a sad day. Couldn't get the Tome of Knowledge from your other support. A Bane without Fiend's Grip just feels so sad.
Definitely. But also, we can see the impact of that Parker play bottom. Timbersaw not taking a tower 11 minutes in a game that is 3-9 is very unusual. So, I guess kudos to SG on actually keeping this tower up. When you look at the net worth even, like the Terrorblade died once and he's still much further away than the Timbersaw. Usually this is the time where Timber is like tanking tier 2 hits. So, very nicely done by SG in that regard. But mid lane, they try to go on KXY. They do have Static Storm, but they hold on it.
Rune, a nice little regen added. Fernango Flow, walking up the high ground. Very ballsy, currently for the side of Ravens. It's a really rough game for Ravens. I mean, like right now they're gaining a lot of map control, but how are you... walks right back into the arrow. How are you gonna be able to like push objectives, take Roshan? Like their lineup takes forever to kill anything.
Yeah, they have to kill everyone, basically. They need like a beautiful Static Storm into lots of Timbersaw damage. Because, yeah, they siege terribly, they roach terribly. But they do have a lot of team fight. That's pretty much what they're banking on. Oh, that is Witch.
That's a dead Bane. Dad. Burnt X mark. Whip. And he gets a nice freebie gifted to him by Kara.
Okay. Pretty greedy build coming here from the Kunkka. He goes for Travels after the armlet. We'll see how much this is going to impact his game. I feel like we're already kind of scared with the damage and the time that it takes for them to do things. And this Travels this early might become a problem. Unless he does walk up to them like that.
Using so much on him. Does have a Ravage, but the rotations are a little bit too slow from the Radiant side, so he doesn't really want to pop his ulti for the engagement, chasing on towards KXY. I mean, that's also... Oh, how does that arrow still land? Ouija, the Bane will be another one added to the list of deaths for the SG Esports side. Glim scratches out LTH. Now the Hoodwink is next. And they're just getting absolutely mowed down. This is pretty much exactly what Ravens need to do, and they're doing an excellent job at it.
Yeah, it's... yeah, they're definitely making some really good moves, and their draft is great at team fighting this early, but I'm surprised with some of the actual moves SG did, you know, with the Terrorblade going up that high ground. Even the Bane taking that arrow. Like, if he doesn't take that arrow, I'm sure they could fight and defend their mid-tier 1. So a couple of unusual mistakes from SG are also allowing Ravens to snowball this early game. And that's definitely going to allow them, like, they really need this, right? Or else their draft is not going to look good.
Another one. Damn! They're just...
Another
random Static Storm, Kinetic Field. That is also kind of the bane of the SG lineup. Like, that Static Storm, unless you get BKBs, you can't do diddly squat against it. Tidehunter especially, like, he despises playing against Disruptors.
Are you talking about a philosophical Bane or the actual hero Bane, Ouija, on the side of SG?
What did you say as the first one?
Philosophical?
The philosophical. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, okay. Yeah, no, terrible jokes aside, I definitely agree. It's, now that they have the U-Scepter on the Void Spirit, so he's not gonna be successful to moves like that, at least for a while, so that's great. Terrorblade is farming really well, even though they gave a lot of advantage on us.
Wait, he's almost got his Scotty.
Yes, he's huge, but he's also playing very aggressively here. Nice.
And they're gonna go in on Parker. Does have a Sunder, of course. Ravage gets blown in return. Nice Nightmare save, but the arrow afterwards. Great Fiend Script holding that in place. Sunder, yeah, baby, there we go. Parker says, no way, Jose. Dad's trying to run away. No. Rum Hangover's gonna keep you alive. The chase on towards more. Benja's on the run. KXY doesn't have any more control available for him, but the Nightmare comes through. They'll hold at least Dismar in place. Benjas is going to be the main target, though, who will get absolutely mowed down. And on the side, Dismar, run, Piggy, run! Flee, you fool! He won't really be able to escape, because there's a heavy chase coming through. And a complete turnaround with Parker just barely being able to get his Sunder off.
Wow, I'm actually so impressed with this play that SG did, because it definitely felt like Parker... Oh, I'm Parker, I'm kind of desperate, this tier 1 tower is still up, I'm just going to pop meta by myself and do it. But with the way they connected, there was no... The ward that we see from Ravens close to the tier 1 tower on the Dire side was placed after they were already connecting. So they didn't know about the whereabouts of SG. This really allowed SG to be S5, whereas Ravens, they had to wait for every single TP to come. And they take a really good fight. Amazing play by SG. And now, I mean, they're back in this game. And as we talked about, Ravens, they have to keep winning these fights or else their draft is just so weird.
Yeah, weird's a very solid way of pointing it out. TB's got his eye Scotty, no doubt. Like, that fight got very dicey, but if he adds in that healing reduction on the Timbersaw as well, the movement speed on, you know, 3 melee cores, it's going to be very rough.
Definitely.
Very
nicely done by Parker. Redeems himself after that other play.
No. That still does not redeem him. That play was so horrendous. You need to do a lot more to redeem yourself after that suicide.
If he wins this game, is that redeemable enough?
Depends on how he wins it. Okay, if he wins the series, then he is redeemed.
Okay. Right.
Or if we see an actual godlike play.
A Rampage. Rampage is an outplay.
Just an outplay. I want to see a good outplay. Like that Ravage right there from Eco. Like, great Ravage. Won them the... Like, otherwise he would have been dead with that 100 HP that he had left.
Alright, I don't know what Dismar's doing, but
Dying.
he just wasted all of his Leaps right there.
Oh, the Ravage on the back line. There is a meta available. Could pop it. Is gonna pop it. Fiend's Grip onto Dodd. And how are you gonna interrupt Wedge? Because there's just very little interruptions on the side of Ravens. They're trying to run away. They're gonna get controlled. And that is a complete smackdown. Benja's the tiniest chain of his life will not keep him afloat. And yeah, that you know, I'm not gonna say it just yet, but that feels like game.
Nah, I thought you were gonna say. I'm not gonna say Parker is redeemed, but he's pretty close.
No. That Ravage was mwah. The backline jump. The Static Storm as well was used on a Dissimulating Void Spirit. Like, he was in Dissimulate, so of course he's not gonna jump back right into the middle of that Static Storm.
Yeah. Also, you know, I don't want to name names, but
Yes,
actually
you do.
naming someone. This bar's play, like he was under Mirana's out, and then he uses 3 leaps to chase a Terrorblade. And like he literally set up his team for the most terrible fight ever. So that's definitely on him. I think that was like Ravens. Sure, we still feel like they're not gonna scale into late game, but they didn't have to get team wiped like that if the Mirana doesn't go crazy with that play. Oh, Hara.
I mean, the plus side of playing Void Spirit this game as well. They picked the Disruptor, I think, a little bit later, and Void Spirit doesn't really care about glimpse. It's one of the very few heroes that really doesn't care about glimpse.
Yeah, they changed that because when the hero got released, it didn't work the way it does now. So you couldn't really dodge glimpse even with even with that spell. But now it definitely is one of the few good heroes versus the Raptor.
It's still dumb that like you doesn't. It's like, yeah, what do you build? BKB, but I'm a position 5 support. Then nothing. Nothing will save you.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those.
BKB done on Parker. With 20 minutes in, he's got a BKB Ayascati. Okay.
I mean, I honestly, it's so hard to end up in a lane where the Terrorblade does this well versus the Timber. So that's definitely kudos to Parker and Wedge with the way they played that lane. It's very impressive. Oh, looks like a fight's about to brew.
They'll find the Bane, but the Ravage catches everyone. Going for the Disruptor catch. Does have Static Storm Kinetic Field. Okara's not going to pop anything. He's dead. Benja's going to be chased because the Metamorphosis TB is in the house. And he can very easily take Roche right now where they're standing next to.
Yeah, that's definitely the play. Parker going for the Manta after finishing the BKB. I don't know. I don't want to be a downer, but this game looks really hard for Ravens. Like, when you look at this Kanka's build, he spent 2k gold on these travels. That, like, really doesn't give him any damage. Then he's forced to go BKB anyways. So, like, how do they ever kill Parker?
Keep Dodd away from the pit. That's the key factor here, because the meta is pretty much about to end. Ghost Ship comes out, does not connect whatsoever. Snipe being thrown out, and Roche is still not dead. Dismar right next to it. They're trying to keep everyone away, and finally Parker picks up the Aegis. Sunder comes out, Nengaflow gets bursted down. Oh my lord. Just a complete whiff all over the place. They're being hunted for more. Dismar is gonna get hit by the 9th Aether Remnant, but a return kill onto KXY will at least make it a bit more recoverable.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice attempt from Ravens. They knew that Metamorphosis was about to end, and also that there was no Ravage. But the way SG actually spread out in that fight and kind of created a wall so that Parker could finish Roche was really nicely done. They also kind of whiffed a couple of spells, right? The Fiend's Grip right when the Kunkka was trying to combo the Hoodwink, so the boat misses. Just really nicely played from SG. They made a couple of mistakes and hiccups at the start, but once it mattered, they are playing flawlessly.
Yeah, I gotta definitely admit, that Bane has done some very massive plays this game. Even though he's died 8 times, doesn't really matter. You're a 5 position Bane. You cast your spells, you're allowed to die.
Yeah, for sure. That one Fiend's Grip did a lot, even though it got cancelled. Like, it had to be cancelled by a Static Storm because the Glimpse was already used. So that by itself is already huge, right? You're trading Fiend's Grip for Static Storm. That's definitely an advantageous trade in a fight like that.
And that's really the issue here. Like, you have Mirana with the arrow, which in a team fight is very hard to hit. He has a Eul's now, so that's a big plus. But the Kunkka, same story. Like, he needs to either X mark a Torrent. Torrent takes a while before it cancels anything. Then you've got the Glimpse of the Disruptor. Takes a while to cancel anything. Plus, Static Storm
he
is
was the
faster.
one grip, right?
Yeah.
So like all of his spells didn't matter because he was the one grip. So it was really good target selection too by Wage.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Knows who to knock down. And right now, well, it's looking like they're knocking everyone on the side of Ravens down.
Dire's top tower is about to be
definitely.
Radiant's top trouble. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
XY, trying to work towards that.
Dire's scanning for enemies.
There's no use on Benja, so it's gonna be fine. Working on that eggs, really strong versus the Ember that I don't think. Oh, he actually did finish his BKB recently. Let's do a 9-second one.
Yeah, but even, like, BKB is very nice, but there's still a Fiend's Grip, and there's also Ayaskati TP, who now has BKB done. BKB Manta style has the Aegis on him as well. It's a little bit scary, of course, if you die once. But you're gonna have to kill him twice. Sexstorm gets thrown out. Hiko still has a Ravage available. Ghost Ship comes in, connects onto no one. Parker's just chilling, waiting to get us under target. Does anyone's BKB just about end? It did, but that was Invis, and that's going to be the Aegis at the very least popped. Parker should be able to run away with the rest of his team behind him, especially considering... Can they keep him alive? Nice dodge with the Nightmare. And Parker gets the Sunder. Benja's surrounded. Eul's on Eul's action. Ben just runs right to Hiko, who doesn't really like that position either. Oh, hide. Nightmare, save, stun, Benjas. Oh my god, he actually gets bursted down. Look at the HP on the Radiant heroes. They're 3, 4, 5, almost dead. Kara's gonna get jumped, but they're gonna focus down the better target, and that is Dad out. The only one left is the Disruptor, and the Disruptor can't do anything without a team.
Wow. And you know, that was the best case scenario for Ravens. They killed the TB with Metamorphosis on and BKB being wasted. So he comes back with only the Sunder, and even still they can't win the fight. You know, first because it's a huge net worth advantage, but also because their draft really doesn't scale, and we're only 25 minutes in. So it's just gonna become a huge and bigger problem from now on.
Parker got glimpsed. Okay. Yeah, sure. Glimpse me. You know, with only an Ember alive, there's no chance that you can kill him. Considering he is now at 20k net worth, which is pretty decent. I mean, I guess the courier. Yep, he has almost a full Satanic added on top of whatever he has. God. Infinity. Lost Parker.
He's a thick boy, for sure. The Satanic, and I mean, he has the perfect idea. He doesn't really need damage. As long as he doesn't get bursted, he will be able to sunder a high priority target and just kill whoever he finds. So I really like the Satanic decision in this game. It's not like he can really dispel that much stuff, right? I guess it's only the chains and the Thunderstrike, but it's still super valuable to not die.
Well, the Whirling Death, you know, that armor agility reduction is annoying.
For sure.
But just in general, they have no healing reduction, so he just goes ham.
Yeah, this Kunkka Ember in the same team. There's a reason we don't see that every day. You have to play a very specific style, and you have to be successful at it the whole game. And Ravens, they actually did well for a while. It was looking bad for Sweep, but
that very
really
well moment
really good macro.
resulted in no Roche and 2 towers.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty lengthy amount of time where they had full control over the map.
They just took too long, honestly. Like the offlane tower falling at 12 minutes when the TB is out of the lane for 7 minutes is definitely not good enough. Oh, arrow.
Outside Storm Kinetic Field, he has a BKB. Can he pop it? The Nightmare save again. Parker pops the Satanic. Fiend's Grip onto Nengo. Nice BKB, buddy. But it doesn't do anything. And Parker's back to full HP. The rest of his team behind him. And again, Weege with a superb Nightmare save. Like, he's on point on this Bane.
It's been a while since I've seen a last pick Bane, and I was like, this was a great last pick Bane. I don't think I've ever spoken these words, but SG did a good job. You could definitely see the impact in those late game team fights with the Nightmare save.
We saw pretty much one big hiccup, and that was, of course, from Parker walking up with 100 HP and getting whipped. But besides that, superb game from SG Esports. They stuck to the game plan, and that is just, you know, don't lose everyone the entire time, aka don't lose Parker. He just farms, he gets